Okay, so we're going to tear apart a survival story today, but not in the way you might think. We're not looking at it as just fiction. Nope. We're treating this as a practical blueprint for taking on those subtle, internal addictions of modern life. You know the ones. The constant need for distraction, for validation, for that next empty dopamine hit. This is all about how you generate your own power when the world decides to cut you off. And wow, this quote really it sets the stage perfectly, right? Because the real fight here isn't against some crazy storm or some external monster. It's the battle against yourself, against who you are when all the noise, all the crutches we lean on every single day are suddenly just gone.
So, the story kicks off with something it calls the White Siege. And this isn't just a snowstorm, it's a crucible. It's an environment specifically designed to force a confrontation, not just with the cold, but with the raw, gut-wrenching experience of withdrawal.
So here's the setup. You've got this supernatural blizzard that completely cuts off Northwood High from the rest of the world. The power grid, dead. Cell towers, nothing. But here's the real kicker. All the external crutches are ripped away. No phones to scroll through, no nicotine to calm the nerves, no sugar for that quick rush. Suddenly, these students are locked in a psychological prison with absolutely nothing but their own unprocessed thoughts and some seriously powerful cravings.
This forces everyone to shift their focus and fast. The problem isn't just the snow piling up outside, it's the storm that's brewing inside. And this is where we get to identify the real enemy through these core ideas of coldfire and the parasitic things it attracts.
So what in the world is coldfire? Well, the story defines it as this low-frequency, kind of dirty energy that we create from our own addictions and negative emotions. Think of it like putting dirty fuel in your car. It might burn, but it doesn't give you any real power. It just leaves you feeling weak, foggy, and totally vulnerable. It's a fantastic metaphor for those negative feedback loops that just drain us.
And this is where it gets really interesting because we see this coldfire showing up in three very distinct archetypes. First, you have the dissolver, Diesel. His addiction is substance-based, and he's trapped by this core lie of nihilism. Why bother trying? Then there's the absolver, Abby. She's addicted to the distraction of social media, always waiting for some magical savior to fix everything. And finally, the revolver, Rev, who is all about consumption now, always pushing the consequences onto a future self that, let's be honest, never shows up. Sound familiar at all?
Now stick with me, because the next idea is crucial. The story talks about these invisible energy entities that are drawn to cold fire. Now, these aren't literal monsters. Think of them as a metaphor for the parasitic nature of addiction itself. They represent the cravings, the self-sabotage, the emotional crashes, all the things that keep a person weak and trapped in that same old cycle.
But here's the good news. The story doesn't just leave us with the problem, it gives us a solution. And that brings us to the methodology for building real inner power, a tangible system for starving those parasites and generating genuine strength. It's called igniting the fire flow.
And the fire flow method is actually pretty straightforward. It's a three-step process. Step 1, purify the vessel. You got to cleanse the body. Step 2, fortify the mind. This is about building up your internal energy with disciplined thought, kind of like mindfulness or cognitive reframing. And finally, step 3, project the will. This is where you use that focused intent to actually make changes in your reality.
The mentor character, Lord White, just nails it with this line. You lack the fire. You must learn to generate it from within. That's the whole game, right there. Real strength, real warmth, it's not something you get from a cup of coffee or a social media like. It's something you have to build yourself, from the inside out.
So how do you kick this all off? With a major shock to the system, the ice baptism. We're talking a 1-minute ice-cold shower. And the point isn't just getting clean, it's a pure test of will. It's designed to jolt your spirit awake, to metaphorically burn away all that psychic grime, and to literally force your body to fire up its own internal furnace just to survive. Okay, so once the body's been rebooted, you have to keep fueling the engine. The system gives you 3 main tools for this. There's the threefold flame, an internal fire made of wisdom, virtue, and firepower. Then there's the spoken word, which treats words like energy cups that you can fill with positive intent. Think of it like supercharged affirmations. And finally, high-frequency intake, just recognizing that basic things like pure water and clean air are essential high-grade fuel.
So that's the theory. Now let's get to the good part and see how this all plays out in the invisible battle where these students have to put this new methodology into practice against some very, very real inner demons. And this slide is just a brilliant example of the system's versatility. On one hand, you have Rev in the cafeteria facing an entity of gluttony, this bloated fog of grease and sugar. He beats it with pure logic, just intellectually rejecting it. On the other hand, you have Abby in the library, facing an entity of distraction, these glitching shadows offering her a fake reality. And she defeats it with a powerful blast of emotional authenticity and self-love. It's the same system, but with different tools for different jobs.
So, here's the payoff. This is the crucial point. After these battles, what's the number of external crutches these students are leaning on? It's 0. A big, fat 0. They are no longer dependent. This isn't just about surviving anymore. This is about achieving true, honest-to-God self-reliance.
So, after conquering their individual addictions, they've basically become masters of the flame. But it's not over yet. There is one final confrontation. Now they have to face the collective existential fears that sit at the absolute root of all their old dependencies.
This final test goes down in the boiler room, the symbolic heart of the school. And this is where they come face to face with the root of all fear, the fear of death and whatever comes next. And it shows up as 3 distinct entities, each one perfectly tailored to their deepest, darkest dread.
First up, the dissolver sphere, aimed right at Diesel. This is the voice of pure nihilism. It's whispering, why are you even trying? It all just ends in 0 anyway. Just give up. Dissolve now. I mean, what a powerful temptation for someone who already kind of believes that. Next, you have the absolver's fear, and this one is targeting Abby. It's the voice of false hope. It's telling her, you're too weak to do this yourself. Just wait. A magical rescue is coming to save you. Just sleep. It preys on that deep-seated desire to be saved instead of saving herself.
And finally, for Rev, the revolver's fear. This is the voice of ultimate consequence. It tells him the game's over. There's no next time. The wheel stops right here. You wasted all your chances. You failed. This is a direct attack on his core belief that he can always fix things later.
But look at this. This is where you see they have truly mastered the system. Diesel rejects the void using his fire of power. Abby rejects that false rescue with her fire of virtue. And Rev, he rejects final failure with his fire of wisdom. Each one of them uses their specific piece of that threefold flame to completely dismantle their ultimate fear. It's incredible.
And the result of all this? Total, complete transformation. By conquering not just their individual demons, but their collective fears, they are no longer just some scattered group of addicts. They have forged themselves into a unified, powerful, and resilient squad, ready to take back their world.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? What's the point? It's that this whole fire flow system is really just a powerful metaphor for a profound truth. Real resilience, real strength, it isn't about finding some external fix to numb your problems. It's about learning how to generate your own power, your own heat from the inside out.
And that leaves us with one final question. A question for you, for some self-reflection. What cold fire, what distraction, what dependency, what negative habit is fueling your life right now? And maybe more importantly, how are you going to start to ignite your own flame?